You're done, Skittles. You're going to be tasting the rainbow when I'm finished with you. Ronda Rousey's incoherent ramblings and or homophobia on display. You decide in the comments. I'm going with the latter. I'm Charles Renton with my review of WWE Smackdown from Ehvansville, Indiana. Let me know your thoughts on this show in the comments, please. Coming off of a pretty decent Elimination Chamber show, we're on the road to WrestleMania. We have just about a month left until WrestleMania 39. 2 nights of WrestleMania 39. I'm worried about the build towards some of the matches. Now, the build for a few of the matches actually I think will be very well done. But man, there were a few moments on this show where I nearly turned the goddamn thing off because there are certain things I'm just done with when it comes to WWE programming. And that goes for any other programming. New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW, just certain things just irk me. And maybe it's the fact that I've been watching wrestling since I was 4 years old. Maybe it's just the fact that there are certain things that just are so goddamn monumentally stupid that don't belong in wrestling, yet they keep insisting on putting them on the show. Anyway, we get Chamber recaps and then recaps of Raw with Sami and Kevin. They're going to reunite within a couple weeks. They have to. They can't save it for anything like the Go Home show. They can't do that. They have to really get, pushing the pedal to the metal and all those cliches and whatever. We have Kayla talking to Jimmy. He really wants to know where Jay stands, and he will be standing in the ring in the main event tonight to know where Jay is standing. He won't be staying in the ring, though, Jimmy. You have to call him out, and you have to say, please, brother, please, come to my side, please, yes. I don't know why he'd be talking like Palpatine. So, speaking of Baldatine, how's that for a transition? Team YU Bald, Braun Strowman, and Ricochet, and Mr. Madcap Moss took on Imperium. This was fine. Moss pretty much was just going to be the guy to take the fall, and he was. After Ricochet got targeted for a bit, he made a pseudo hot tag to Braun, and then Braun ended up getting tagged by Moss, and Moss got pinned with a powerbomb. It wasn't bad, it wasn't great. Let's move on. So the Raiders then attacked Drew, who was on the stage or in the entranceway. It's not really a stage since it's all flat ground with the sparkly, screeny things and pyro and loud noises. Drew is there watching on, possibly maybe getting towards Gunther. We get Drew and Sheamus and Gunther in a three-way human centipede together, 3 men bashing each other up. I'm all for it. Why the hell not? Just as long as Gunther retains the championship and holds it and goes on to break the Honky Tonk Man's record. Please do that, please. Honky Tonk Man should never have been the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history. So anyway, here's Sheamus to stop that. And then Ricochet and the Strowman decide to basically beat up the Raiders. So I guess we're transitioning to that feud. And Santos respects Rey. Legado del Fantasma, I will use their, their Christian name, I guess. And it's all about respect. And, Santos really respects Rey and was honored to get the mask from him. Here's Dominic, so I instantly stopped giving a shit. And Rhea, Santos deserves better than confronting a guy with a stupid haircut. And the fact that Dominic is not... I know there are people that like Dominic, and that's fine. You can think that Dominic is doing really well in this role, and you're fine. You're right. Whatever you think, that's great. Or you can be in the second camp. If you're like me, and I know I am, I'm in the second camp where I can't stand seeing this. I can't even form a goddamn sentence correctly. I can't stand seeing this stupid motherfucker on my television. I can't. And he's not the only stupid motherfucker I can't stand seeing. This whole thing with Rey and Dominic has been terrible. They think it's good, and if you think it's good, that's fine. I don't think it's good. So, anyway, here's LA Knight. We also got a couple backstage segments throughout there with Jimmy, Solo, and Heyman wondering where Jay's loyalties lie. LA Knight comes out. He wants to be at Mania. LA Knight makes sense. Here's New Day. They jaw-jack. Knight knocks Kofi Mania. That's enough to piss off Kofi, so they have a match after the break. It was joined in progress, went through a break, and was fine. I'm kind of over New Day, even though I appreciate what they have done and how they have continued to stay over and get great crowd reactions. Kind of over the gimmick, but they still wrestle well, Kofi. Seemingly time has not stopped him or slowed him down, even though he's had to vary up a few things. LA Knight ended up losing via a trombone distraction. So if you thought he wasn't toast before the pitch black match, he definitely is now. I'm sorry. I mean, I have nothing against New Day. At this point, with how stupid the build was for the Pitch Black match and how it did nothing, absolutely nothing for LA Knight. And yeah, the crowd reacted to him. Yeah, New Day beating him. Whatever. I mean, it was what it was. Pre-tape on Rhea and Charlotte. All the history and everything in brief clips, but well done. Charlotte entrance. Same as it ever was. Here's Dominic. The show is lost is what I wrote down. He talks about them being second generation talents. Charlotte mentions how she has a guy at home that calls her mommy that basically makes a dick joke and everything in the most convoluted way possible, and mentions Andrade, El Oli Olio. Wonder where he's been. I mean, I know he's recovering from a torn pec or something like that, and I hope he's recovered well. But yeah, this went on too long. Here is Rhea. They sort of have a face-to-face. Rhea has to beat Charlotte. I'm sick of seeing Dominic on my television to the point that I would rather bash my head into the goddamn wall. It would be less painful than listening or even looking at Dominic. Thanks, Ray, for not swaying your son somewhere else. Whatever, again, there are people that like him. I don't. So Natty is with Tegan. I forgot that Tegan was brought back. Entrances at 6:07, and by about 6:14, 6:15, we get Shayna with Ronda taking on Natty with Tegan. Well wrestled, that is. I stopped caring because they're not really going to do much of anything with Shayna. Natty is very good, and I like Natty, and I love watching Natty wrestle, but there just hasn't been enough for me to necessarily care about a lot of the undercard matches in the women's division, whether Raw, SmackDown, NXT has a couple, but there's a distraction. And then Ronda ends up distracting Natty just enough to where there's an arm bar and Natty taps out. And then they shit can Tegan, but then Tegan roars back, and that's when Ronda says, "You're done, Skills. You're going to be tasting the rainbow when I'm finished with you." Gee, Ronda, try to actually hide. You're getting paid a lot of money to basically suck at your job. So anyway, the Funhouse returned, and I wanted to return to when WCW decided to just do bonkers, stupid shit, or just have a bunch of run-ins and everything, because at least that was fun, and that was actually, it was bad, but at least it involved wrestlers. It didn't involve actors. Go to Blumhouse and act, you fucking goddamn act. Please, go act. This is stupid. This is a goddamn embarrassment to professional wrestling. People like it, that's fine. They're going to have Lashley against Bray. Just send Lashley home after Mania. Just send him home with pay till SummerSlam. So people can forget about it, because nobody works with Bray and comes out better in the end. Nobody. It wasn't Vince McMahon that was causing all this stuff and all this, creative up and down and everything. Nope. This guy just is an actor. He's not a wrestler. Even though he comes from a wrestling family, this isn't wrestling. And you want to say it has a deep narrative? Fine. You look for your deep narrative all you want. People say Alexa Bliss is going to be part of this. Great! Good! Then I can care even less about her. Jimmy and Solo and Heyman, more stuff. Ray took on Cross. Dominic ended up, causing a distraction. During this, by the way, there was a He Gets Us commercial. Those people that basically want to use God's teachings to promote bigotry, racism, homophobia, and all the stuff against women and everything, at least women that aren't God-fearing Christian white women, they could use all that money to help out the less fortunate, such as the Storybook that promotes God's teachings, but they don't want to do that because they're a hate group. And if you agree with He Gets Us, you're part of agreeing with a hate group, you idiots. Anyway, Dominic ends up causing a distraction. Cross wins, and then they milk this thing forever and ever and ever, and Ray won't hit Dominic. This worked for Virgil and Ted DiBiase. This worked for Alex Riley and Miz. This isn't working for me, because I wanted to hit the goddamn power button and just turn off the show. So, this is going to be the worst match at Mania is what I wrote down. You gotta applaud Ray's restraint. No, I want everybody involved in this to be put in restraints and sent out to the goddamn gulag and live streamed on pay-per-view, and we pay off the national debt. Next week, Rhea versus Liv. Liv's segment apparently got cut. Tag match with Natty Tegan against Shayna and Ronda. Jimmy wants Jay to be there for him. Sammy shows up with a mic, conveniently, and they talk a little bit. Talk about family. You were my brother, Jimmy. You accepted me. Jay didn't. You accepted me, and you didn't think one, second about turning on me, and you did. And then Sammy got cheered a lot, and then Jay showed up in the crowd, and then Sammy ends up getting kind of distracted by Jay at a weirdly inconvenient spot. Jimmy attacks. Jay sort of saunters down, and then a haluva kick while Jimmy was distracted by Jay. And Sammy runs out while Jay just stands there and Solo shows up. So there you go. They're pretty much building that stuff with the bloodline and everything. And look, there are people excited for the build for Mania, and I think some of the matches are going to be pretty good. But I'm going to say right now that if Rey versus Dominic ends up getting any serious amount of time, it is going to be embarrassing. I'm actually embarrassed. Dominic makes me embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. Thanks, Dominic. Bray actually makes me embarrassed to be a wrestling fan, too. Even though I'm sure they're nice people, as far as wrestling characters, they aren't good. Agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Recklin. I'll see you soon.